Hello everybody, welcome to the Beginner's Guide. All I know is about this game is that I bought it in a bundle, and I don't know why I did. I'm recording it now because I'm interested to see what it is, and I want to share my experience with you guys on this game. Because why not, you know? I completed The Walking Dead a little bit ago, or not a little bit ago, but a couple days ago. And, I don't know how long this game is. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it in one run. Or something like that, but all I know is that it's an experience of some sort.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
Okay.
We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counterstrike. You can walk around here, by the way.
Ooh, Counterstrike.
And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts...
I'm gonna turn up my sensitivity because, you know, that is lit.
It's from the simple aesthetic of a desert town. He then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level.
Spawn.
And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed.
Dang it. I keep screwing. Whenever I do this to myself, like I go into a game and don't set it up
by a real
beforehand.
person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games.
Interesting.
I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator.
Oh,
I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
Okay.
So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse at one point.
So this sounds like an interesting topic at hand here. It reminds me a little bit of the tiny bit that I sort of played from the Stanley Parable, because I can't exactly remember what happened. But yeah, the narrator.
He jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since.
Really?
And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveyWreden@gmail.com.
So this should be an interesting
Okay, that's
ride.
about it for introduction.
Hi.
Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
That's interesting. Loading November 2008. So this should be a ride of... What?
Warning. Whisper machine active.
Oh. It's got the sounds to it.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
So E can shoot and mouse 1 can shoot, or did I already screw that up? I ran out of ammo. Wonderful. Okay, so this is like, this guy is like making stuff for himself? Question mark? Or like just doing it to do it? I think he sounds interesting to me. It really does. So he first made a game in November 2008.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
I am out of ammo, so
it kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets.
I did that already.
But ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized.
Oh, that's cool.
Begin shooting up.
This is interesting.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Like, I can never... Oh. That's interesting. Man. Things I do are recording. It's interesting. Maze question?
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
My ears.
Okay,
bothering me.
this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Okay, so these are like just basic game demos.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If you...
Is it the sounds
you were
bothering my
bound to
ear?
stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Sure. Sure, can I just go yeet?
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Oh, okay, so it set me back. Whoa. My heart just like dropped.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions.
Started all the way down there.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Okay, so this is probably December. No, it's still November 2008. Ah, Slender the Brick Road. Me joking around. What?
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Past was behind her. What? This has got... You gotta be kidding me, right? Or not like you gotta be kidding me, but like... What?
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative.
Why does the future keep changing?
It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
What she is doing is right. When she steps, or when she stops, it becomes clearer. Who stops? But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that.
Okay.
Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
That's interesting. So he's doing this all in like a couple, like, you are now entering the Twilight Zone, the Liberal Zone, whatever you want to call it.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
What? Ah, November, December. Alright.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Oh my.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Something
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Enter? Stay on X starting at bear for 3 hours. Stranger appears, you must address or rally a group. A game only
that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Nothing but giant blocks. Just waiting. What happens? A normal game where you have to scream in your mic for 15 seconds.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
These are game ideas. Press U to surrender. I pressed U and nothing happened. This is interesting, to say the least. Ready, set, fish. Okay, this is much more lighthearted, I want to say. That one was just like, what's happening into this world of the guy who's making... Well, I guess that's the whole point of this game, is the question, what's going on here, right? So I can only assume, I sure am going for a trip,
this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
So you haven't been through here. So, oh yeah, I jumped down there. That. Get myself stuck. Oh no, the switch is on this side.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon.
Oh,
we're gonna see it a lot.
That kind of makes sense for a beginning developer, you know? To have the same puzzle back to back. You know what I mean? That door shouldn't have been so obvious.
So that seems to be it, right?
No.
You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
I didn't press enter, but oh my god! Whoa!
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So,
yeah,
in the Stairs
that's
game,
kind of the point.
A dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's
I never
not
thought
your
about
role as a
that.
player. So
I
if your
never
role
thought
here is
about
not
that.
to understand, then what is it?
To play the game you're playing, right? I never thought about that. So did he continue this game? You are now... Wait, what?
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to
Let me check my recording, make sure everything's going right. But yeah,
play a
this
role
makes
in,
sense.
some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
This is actually really, really cool. So he spent 2 months developing his next game, The Great Lovely Descent. Okay, this, like, I'm thinking of who is this character? Who is the creator of the game, and what's
Let's talk about video game development
trying to
for a second.
convey?
Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Yeah.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source.
Yes, I know
Like
that
all
one.
engines,
It's
Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly.
Whoa.
One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Yeah, that's understandable, because I know
the tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
This doesn't look like a corridor, but you know, I'll take it. I really like this type of stuff where we're jumping from platform to platform. I'm just searching for answers. Oh, I really do like this. It's nice and calming. Until you screw up. Where are we going now? Over here, obviously. And I screwed it up. Oh, are we supposed to go down there? Oh, I didn't get to do what I wanted. I wanted to actually adventure. I wanted to actually do that. Parkour. Of course I screwed up. So that's like the Half-Life 2 gate, isn't it? Yeah, so Source is common amongst game development, I'm pretty sure. Like one of the main things. Then you have Unreal, CryEngine. There's a lot more out there than, you know. Oh, this is an elevator. What? There's a lot more other ones that people use. I just seem more familiar with Source than...
Funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Oh, why?
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else.
That's what walking simulator
played
might do.
Every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
This is so interesting.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
You're leaving behind the past, really. You're leaving behind what happened in the past for the future, probably. It's just a straight guess. But oh boy, is this a trip down some fun stuff. Okay, listen? Question mark? Fireplace? Speak, you aren't there!
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Yes, there's a world stamped with whiteness. Yes, there's a numerous prison I spent hours in. Yes, there is... It's a world above. You've been there. Now this is important. Do you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. No, I don't remember having to go through a puzzle. I prefer not to tell you. After all, we just met. Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution and now go. I don't remember how I solved it. I just remember it, but I can't. I didn't solve it. Someone else let me in. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand it's the most important thing in the world? We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promised you there is nothing I want more. Okay. Okay, what is happening here now? Hello, how do you get here? How did you get here? Was there a puzzle before entering? No, I've been here the right time. Yeah, so I suggest you go and see the puzzle sometime. It's not meant to be solved, but you can sit in the black space in the middle. Why? What happens if I sit in the black space? Oh, it's plenty peaceful. It may not seem that way at first, but you come to think so eventually. Okay. It's a bit interesting, if I do say so myself.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
And what is it, the final floor of the level that makes it so interesting? Well, this game is already interesting by itself because... Lamppost? A floating lamppost. No, it's not a floating lamppost. This is a lamppost in the middle of an apartment building complex that has only one entrance?
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite
This was
why,
in the menu.
but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games
So
from
light at
here
the
on
end
out.
of the tunnel, you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're gonna see it in the work as well. His games are just gonna become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Can you enable B-Hop scripts, please? Oh, I would really love that. Please, thank you. I would love that right now. B-Hop scripts, they would be lit. The game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. What? Nice room, not. But he didn't release
So
these
first
to
off,
anybody.
I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was
wow.
probably a bit too pushy trying to get his attention. I was over enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
Everyone
Feel
read
free to
this.
skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is
This
going to
place
happen if you
makes
read
me
all of them.
sad.
Either way,
I want
to
to tell
me
you
they
a
convey a
secret. Once
sense of
upon a time, I
loneliness.
did blank.
I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
It's just like, wow, what is happening with him in making his games? I mean, I don't know if this is working. I do believe this is actually true, but this is interesting. What this guy's made. I don't know if I don't know. I can assure you, guaranteed to make it work. Okay, that was a good beat up. Hey guys, just looking for someone to talk with. There is no one to talk with. There is No one online. I refuse to believe. These were all written by the developer, aka Coda. Which, oh boy, recognize me. I can't go off the edge. No, I want to. There's nothing here. Go back. Don't listen to that guy. It's a free T-shirt. Another side of this door. Door now. Open sesame. Okay, so he's setting up a world. This is his mind of what people would probably do. Someday we'll meet a person who made this. But I'm just going through these to see what's going on here. New room. I hear chimes. I hear music. It's not very crowded, it's just full of writing. Suddenly everyone's a poet? So is this his take on what, like, huge online games are? Alright, I think I should be skipping through this. I'm wasting too much time on this. Stop, turn around, proceed further, and result in misery. What? Take my hand, we'll jump to... Okay, that is slightly turning into something much more depressing. Cabbage shapes. What is the painting? I'm just activating all of these because I don't know what else will happen. This time I'll do better. I need someone to talk to. What is happening here? This is a note, question mark. Don't listen to the other notes. Okay. I'm not safe. Okay, so this is going south real far. Stop faking it. Today I've learned you cannot fall off. Pathetical. Painting, what does it mean? Art. Guys, you're just hanging around. Whoever needs makes an issue. Well done, all of you. Who are all of you? I'm trying to speak. I think from up here it looks like a bunch of dots. There's a bunch of dots. Cabbage shapes. We're all gonna die someday. I saw a person walking down there. Now I won't come back. What? Stop pretending you're on with other people. Spoilers, it doesn't mean anything. What? It's about how this game is pretentious and all. What is happening here? Devil Tower Star. I don't know, I'm trying to make sense of this. Devil Tower Star. There's two words of that. He was himself the most horrible creature he could not imagine. Ooh, what are we talking about here? Maybe I'll feel someday. Okay, well, I'm here now. We're all here now. Oh. There must be a reason for this. Wow. Okay. This terrible secret. I kept it well. I beat the game. Question mark. Question mark? Wow. More room.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
Okay, so I hear whispering.
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Does the puzzle have a solution? OMG, I have to... Oh. Oh. This isn't making sense. Door open. So...
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, Before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To
There's one
grasp
out
at
here.
that elusive bigger picture.
I don't like that sound. Oh, the typewriters! How do you leave notes? So these are constantly being written up as you walk by. Oh, wow, that is. Wow, that is. Are you there? Please say something. It could be anything. I just need you to say something. Talk to me, please. Why are you... What? May to June. What is happening?
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
What? I don't have a clue what's going on. Is this gonna turn into like some sort of PT here? Where it constantly loops? No, never mind. Don't listen to me. Ooh, grass. And a well? Is this
See,
a
like,
ladder?
this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Okay. Ah, okay. Oh, so we went over the well. What furniture ought to be in the center of the room? How about a TV with surround sound, a refrigerator, put a giant hole in the middle of the ground? That's not what I wanted. Okay, now what about along the walls of the floor? Let's put a... I really like watching me 10 stoves lined up against the wall. Those are couches. We'll put Tesla coils. We'll put live Tesla coils in each corner. Yeah. I like that one. That's good enough. A table. Who are you? Where exactly are you doing this from? Are these choices are making any sense? Making any difference? In a game, you're... Whoa.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
It's not weird for weirdness' sake. It's just saying that no matter what, your choices do not affect any of the outcome.
He throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Okay. Oh, please walk forward. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care of. Remember, make sure you use that. First, click on the table. Good. Go over to the photo frame and click on it slightly. Turn to the floor lamp room off and turn it back on. This thing. Left side sofa and move it a little bit. Finally touch the shelves. That's it. And a real prison, the escape will now. Oh, return to the start. Okay, so table, chair, that. Okay, I got you. I got you.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape.
What?
Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working for? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself.
No.
Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going.
Wow.
And then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
So, is he, like, making games based on his feelings? Correct? Because if he went from making games being adventurous, being incomplete, someone who had secrets, right? Correct? Is that far enough? Then to becoming someone who was enclosed. They felt trapped. They couldn't go anywhere. Alright. Hello? Who is this? Hey, I'm here. It's me. I'm from after you. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. You're me? Question mark. So you were trapped in this prison too?
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Yeah. So like to escape. Actually, I'm already forgetting about what being in the prison is like. It's strange, but in a way, I kind of miss being in prison. It feels like Sometimes I'm scared. I'll get out, and then things will be exactly the same. Good. That's nice to hear. How to make sure that the thing's not going past me. Just like do that. Maybe that'll change. That makes me feel. It's a lot nicer. It makes me feel really, really happy. Age just kind of does that, you know. Remember to enjoy being who you are right now. It won't last. Wait, if you're me, then did you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? No, I'm the first person to call back. All I have to do is be sincere. Did I press 1 by accident? It will make sense. That's exactly what you need to figure out in order to escape.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it off here. It's been 40 minutes. I'm gonna make another part and play through this entire game. Then I'll probably make something else, but you know, you never know. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next episode of whatever I make. Bye-bye.